So guys, here less people will cross. Also, it's a better spot to start. So welcome to Hamburg. You know you're in Hamburg, right? So nobody from cruise ships. Cruise ships people usually forget where they are. So this is Hamburg. What do you know about the city? Something? Not really. Hamburg, yeah, not really, but kind of. The people used to eat a fricadelle. Like a burger patty, and probably somebody that left Hamburg in the period of industrialization because of famine, went to America and put that burger patty inside of a bread. Where are you from, Hamburg? And that's the story of hamburger. Not really a nice story, but it's a story. So, we're doing a free walking tour today, right? From the city of Hamburg. So we'll be telling the amazing stories of the city. And I have sad news. I am not German, no German will be working on the winter here. So you need foreigners doing that. So I am from Paraguay. I came here for studying mechatronics. So the tour today is only going to be about engineering today. Of course not. I was always passionate about history, but I try to bring logic into history, and that makes no sense. So you realize that it's kind of random all the time. So you know the concept of a free walking tour, right? Walking is always free. That's I can assure you. But at the end of the day, I depend on your contributions. So you can decide today how much my salary is going to be for today. Nice thing about this model is I will be highly motivated until the very end. That's just the nice thing about this. I will be energetic. I will like interaction with you guys. You're doing a good job at laughing. Keep doing that. Boost my ego. Your interaction makes the tours nicer for me. It's nicer for me. It's nicer for you. Okay, guys. So at the end of the tour, you decide how much the experience was worth it for you. So we're going to talk about Hamburg. For that, I like to give a crash course about the context of Hamburg, how this area developed for the first 1,000 years. For that, I like to go to that model right there. Why we can see Hamburg from the sky and understand how this city is the second largest city in Europe that's not a capital. And in this city, there are 42, for every 42 people, there's one millionaire. And we're going to understand how this city managed to make so much money. It's all about trade and money and doing business. And we're going to see and understand that today. Okay? So ready to have fun? Yes. I have bad news. It's going to be only story. No, it's fine. Come, let's go. Hi. So guys, don't be shy. Come closer to the model. Who can find the town hall first? It's kind of tricky, exactly, because it's missing. I screamed with his microphone to that window where the mayor is supposed to be working, not on Saturdays, probably not. But he's never going to repair this model. Already destroyed 12 years ago when I arrived and still destroyed today. So here is Hamburg. Imagine here being the city walls. And that was the size of the official city until 1842. So not really a big city not so long ago. And the industrialization exploded in population. So we're going to first understand how everything started. Here's the Elbe River, just for orientation. You see here the river in your imagination. That's the river. There is the port today. Back then the port was here inside of the city. We're going to talk about that. And you see there, that area, you can go buy clothes or presents there. Only fancy stuff. If you like your family members, you want to bring a present, that's the spot. If you don't like them so much, that area is cheaper. Okay, so just to keep in mind, here is really pricey, here is cheaper, but today the old town is going to be only businesses. Okay, and everything in the city started actually right here. You see there? That started as a fortification, everything. A wooden fortification called Hammerburg. People are lazy, right? So from Hammer, it turned into Ham with the time, but Hammer has an actual meaning. It means the solid land surrounded by swamps. So all the area of Hamburg is actually a big swamp. Who wants to live in a swamp? Shrek. Shrek is here protecting the swamp, and then you're right, nobody wanted to live in this settlement. This settlement started around the year 600, and then we forget about it. Eventually, a guy appears in Europe called Charlemagne. You know Charlemagne? I mean, if you have been in another free walking tour, the name Charlemagne rises all the time. He's like the father of Europe, and from the area of France up to Germany, he extended his kingdom. The Carolingian Empire, that happened around the year 800. But how do you convince your people to invade your neighbor? You need an excuse. The excuse back then was Christianization. So, for example, you see the fortification of Hamburg, you build a church inside, and then you send the priesters to the surroundings to convince the Saxons to believe in this new god. That strategy works really well? No. Nobody wants to believe in a new God that is everywhere, but you cannot see him. So it's not really good argument. For that reason, he sends his soldiers with the priesters. And through the sword, Europe get Christianized. Good strategy until you face people that know how to fight. Who else is in Northern Europe and knows how to fight? Exactly, the Vikings. Where are the Vikings in this map? Around here. Really close. And Vikings like to do one thing: burn the city to the ground. They plunder and burn the city a total of 8 times. And Hamburg, being right at the border with the Vikings, had to deal with the cost of the Vikings. I mean, the Carolingian Empire wasn't helping with troops on time, and then eventually this Carolingian Empire gets partitioned with Germany, and Hamburg is sitting again protecting the northern border. So it's a swamp with aggressive neighbors. So this area is not getting developed, right? Until the year 1189. 7th of May, the most important date in Hamburg history. There we get a document that changes everything. So imagine there is a count called Adolf III. Keep in mind he's good Adolf, not bad Adolf, okay? So good Adolf is a count, he owns half of the land surrounding Hamburg, and he battled together with the king, the Kaiser Barbarossa, famous guy Barbarossa in the Crusades. And as a thank you, Barbarossa asked, what do you want in retribution because you were so courageous? He explained about the location of Hamburg, and the only way to protect the northern border of this Holy Roman Empire will be if people have the advantage to settle in here or to live in here. And what can that advantage be? Yeah, nobody can ask for tolls to ships getting up to Hamburg. That means effectively no taxation for trading. Okay? So imagine you're in the Elbe River right here, okay? And you have a river. If you have another city, you ask for a toll to allow the ship to pass. You cannot do that up to Hamburg. And Hamburg is 100 kilometers away from the end of the Elbe River. And that makes Hamburg officially, you can ask for tolls to every ship that passes by. So officially you are the harbor for the Holy Roman Empire on the Elbe River. And that changed the history forever. Why? Because after that, everybody's motivated to move to Hamburg. The city starts growing. And from being a village with 1,500 people, now it's going to be officially a free city. But we are still facing many challenges for the city to grow. So what people need in the day-to-day basis? And? Exactly. That's easy, right? So where do we drink water? It's a swamp. It's not really clean water from the river. Who wants to drink from the Elbe River today? Back then it wasn't different. I mean, that was the toilet for Europe, the rivers. They take care of everything. Yes. So how do we solve the drinking problem? With a drinking problem, we brew beer. Beer kills the bacteria from the water. It's not the beer from today, it's the beer from back then, 2 or 3% alcohol, and now the water is drinkable. You're a little bit tipsy working on the fields, yes, but everybody's tipsy, so everybody's fine. You do beer, you can do bread. So civilizations start to thrive. We need to build a water mill now. Where do we build the water mill? On the Elbe River. Have you seen that river already? It has a tide, It goes up and down twice a day, more than 4 meters. So it's impossible to build a water mill there. And that decision of building the water mill is going to change Hamburg forever. They do it right there. Maybe you saw in Hamburg a really big lake in the middle of the city. Yeah, it's not a lake, it's a river. They damped for doing the beer. And now you have slow passing water through the city. You see here the channels? That is the spot for the harbor. Slow passing water, it's really easy to do a harbor. And what is also interesting? It's protected. Nobody can come and steal from the river your goods. Here is inside of the city walls. Here we can protect our harbor. And the harbor of Hamburg is going to be that house, for example. And it's going to be a private house that you're living and you're storing the goods on top. And Hamburg starts thriving, doing business, getting bigger and bigger. But now we have faced a new problem. We get many visitors, and we don't want those visitors walking around the city. Those are men that have been locked up in a ship for too long. So what do we do now? We built a red light district. And where is the red light district? Right outside of the city walls. Here's the city walls, here's the Reeperbahn, and here are the Vikings again, just to keep in mind, So in between, you settle the people there. So not a nice idea, but it works really well. So, and then we are going to commit a lot of sin in that area, okay? But also other stuff, maybe talking to each other. That's the internet from medieval times. People are talking, many ships, many people doing business, trading with each other. You share ideas, and in harbors of Europe, the knowledge is going to flow. It's really the internet from back then. But yes, we come back to the sins. So how do we counteract so many sins happening there? We build churches. Here you go, the 5 main churches, and then you can say sorry to our Lord, and next day you repeat. You go, you drink a beer, get some bread, go to the repavan, and then say sorry. You have to pay for it, but that's the cycle of life. So this is the story of Hamburg for a really, really long time. But could be the story of any other port city, right? In Europe, they have a similar background. So what makes Hamburg special? What can happen to a city built mostly with wood? Fire. It burns. And 1/3 of the city is going to burn in 1842. Which 1/3? All the area of the harbor. Gone from one day. And Hamburg, instead of crying, they decide to rebuild. And they're going to rebuild with the mentality of industrialization. And good news about that rebuilding was that 40% of the old town of Hamburg survived the Second World War. We can see that period with our own eyes. Okay? So the tour today is going to be about everything that happened just before the fire and everything that came after, because that's the period that the city defines the city. Okay? So let's recap what we learned now. We are in a swamp. That's going to come over the tour many times. And nobody's living here until we get a document that says we don't pay taxes for trading, right? How long is that document valid? Until 2013. Now everything makes sense about how much wealth is in the city, right? And then everything gets destroyed and then rebuilt with this modern mentality, industrialization. That's the tour is about that. So everybody understood that? Perfect. Now I finished my crash course. Now we can start the tour. If somebody has questions, now is a good time to ask. Questions? 3, 2, 1, let's go. So here we are in front of the town hall, where all those wood buildings, they're not there anymore. Hamburg gets rebuilt with stone. Now we can import stone from everywhere. We have a harbor, we will get the stone from really every area from Europe. So take a look there, different colors everywhere, right? So many sources, not only one. Have you guys been to London? It's great and everything looks the same in every direction. You can get lost really quickly. In Hamburg, it's not the case. The different colors help you to orient a little bit. What happens to the price of stone is everybody's buying stone for buildings, goes up. So Hamburg says, we are not going to rebuild the town hall because it's going to be too expensive right now, we wait for a while. Eventually, every politician realized the building is going to be too expensive and the price of stone is not coming down. So every politician wanted to be involved in the construction. And when every politician has a different intention about what has to be done, you get nothing done. That was the case for 43 years. Hamburg didn't have an official town hall. It was distributed around the city with many buildings. The rich merchants of the city were tired of waiting. For them, it was more expensive to wait than to pay. So they put the money all together, went to the mayor and said, here's the money, you build the town hall now. Bureaucracy should be efficient, especially for business. The mayor said, thank you very much, you are so generous. I know exactly who to call. He went to his son and told him, congratulations, you got the contract. And with a little bit of nepotism, 12 years later, Hamburg had this town hall here standing. And the guy was a little bit lazy but creative. He combined all the designs that have been made throughout history and combined in one building, with the designs of the proposals over the 43 years. And here we have each layer of the building is something different, a different architectonic style, which is kind of nice. And it's full of symbols trying to tell the story of Hamburg. The building is finished in 1897, and Kaiser Wilhelm I comes to the inauguration. He arrives here, takes a look like this, and he's offended. Why is the guy offended by taking a look to the building? because only God should be above kings. And here we have the kings in the first layer of decoration, the lowest possible. Remember that document from Barbarossa? Also says Hamburg is a free city. Free city, we don't care about kings, we care about something else, we care about money. So here are the kings, and money is on top of that. Where do you see money? On top of each window you see a coat of arms. You see the different coat of arms on the windows? Those are the trading partners of Hamburg, all members of the Hanseatic League. Really? So, good. He's playing with my emotions now. So let's come a little bit closer together, maybe, because so there is this symbol of the Hanseatic League. Okay, do you know what the Hanseatic League is? Remember the Vikings? They were really good ship builders, and after they finished plundering Europe, they start trading in Europe. But since the Vikings are gone, pirates appear everywhere, attacking the trade routes. So Hamburg, Bremen, and Lubeck didn't like that. So we can do something about it. Instead of traveling one ship alone, we can travel in bigger numbers. So 10 ships, and we organize a convoy for people traveling from city to city, like comrades. They start doing that, works really well. You don't get attacked by pirates anymore, and then they start realizing the second biggest problem is bureaucracy. Back then, every city had a different taxing code. Doing business was a mess. So they decide, let's do easy, one taxing code for all the members of the Hanseatic League, and problem solved. That idea spread like a wildfire. Everybody started joining the Hanseatic League. They will get up to 400 members. They will have an own military. They are going to be really powerful, doing a lot of trade in Northern Europe. And Hamburg, as a founding member, had many advantages. And saying in the Hanseatic League, it's not only in Germany, but everywhere in Germany. You have cities in Denmark, Sweden, Scandinavian countries, England. London was a Hanseatic member too. Between the 14th and the 16th century, quite important. So important that even today, the name of Hamburg is the free and Hanseatic city of Hamburg. The Hanse is really a backbone for Hamburg. But not everything in life is money. So let's take a look a little bit further up, above the symbol of the Hanseatic League. Do you see sculptures everywhere? Those are the people of the city. And those are each profession, the guilds. The guilds are the one ruling over the city. And you imagine now it's a democracy, not really a democracy, more like an oligarchy. They are first putting their interests first, but they're kind of listening to the people with the same profession. So Hamburg will be a city that's quite happy, and we can see that throughout history because the people didn't have a lot of revolt. And revolt happens from the inside, not from the outside. So they always managed to survive each crisis, and by being positioned in this complex geopolitical area of Europe, always managed to thrive after each event. Now we take a look to the center. Do you see maybe the symbol in red? That is the symbol of Hamburg. And I have bad news, the symbol is fake. I mean, that's supposed to represent the Hamburg fortification I spoke about before, but that was never with stone. It was more like a circle with spikes, like Viking theory, like that was Hamburg, the Hamburg. So I gave my own interpretation. Hamburg has a slogan, Tor zur Welt, the door to the world. From here, Germany is accessing to the best goods and knowledge the world has to offer. So rather see that one like a portal, not a fortification that never existed in that shape, right? So if you keep the lie, repeating the lie is going to become true eventually. So do your job, guys. So now we look further up. Would you see something just below the clock? What do you see? Don't be shy. An eagle. Everything in Germany is an eagle, right? But this time it's not an eagle. This time it's a phoenix. Because Hamburg rises from the ashes every time stronger. As long as we don't pay taxes, we're going to rebuild this area, I mean, it makes sense, right? And Hamburg came back many times. And this building has to come back, yes or no? What do you say? Got destroyed in the war, yes or no? What's your guess? No, it survives. When the bomb was falling, the bomb ended up falling in love with the building. And the detonator went off just before the explosion and damaged only one side of the roof on the left side of the tower. One room got damaged, didn't explode, and the building survived. Amazingly survived. It was a big target. But how do I know? I mean, I check in the internet, but how can you know which building got destroyed and which not? Have an idea? Maybe turn around and compare these two buildings, left and right. Do you see a difference? The roof, exactly. One is brown, the other is green. Green means no bump, brown means bump. Why do I know that? Because both are copper, same material, but one is oxidized, the other isn't. For copper to oxidize, it has to develop the patina. It takes more than 100 years. So you go around, you see green, no bump, no bump. Here behind you, what is the color? Green, no bump. Okay, for patina to develop, it needs sulfur in the air. Only happens with a lot of pollution. That's why we have to keep polluting the world so we get green roofs in. No, of course not. I mean, you have time, okay? Maybe when you come back in 30 or 40 years, all roofs start to get green already, okay? So take a look, open your eyes. In Hamburg, you can recognize these small details everywhere, okay? So anybody has questions about the building behind me? About the symbols, something catches your attention? If you're interested and you have an idea, a question later, I highly encourage to visit the tours. Tomorrow is going to be a tour. Inside of the town hall is $5 for 45 minutes. It's like visiting a palace. Hamburg didn't save any cent for building this one. Highly recommend. Yes? I have no clue. But I can check in Wikipedia soon. Or ask ChatGPT. So guys, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is over for questions. You finally walk. Let's go. Those are also my best friends, people carrying stuff in the zone.
But you're talking about the old guys with the cool socks.
What?
You're talking about the old guys.
No. Oh, that's actually cool. Oh, cool vibe. So, guys, you see the big buildings here? These are not the town hall anymore. That building used to be something else, the stock market. You see that the port and the town hall are connected to each other, to the stock market. Yet money and politics go together, and they're not hiding that fact from anybody in Hamburg. So if you need a favor from the mayor, maybe he needs to change a law to favor you. You go, you walk to the corridors, you reach the town hall, you talk to the mayor, you bribe him, he changed the law, and you can do business. Everybody's happy, right? Can you imagine something like that today? And many people from Brazil, I know you can. So, really easy. Today we don't change a lot. This is today the Chamber of Commerce. Same function as a stock market. You decide who trades with whom, this time with political power and laws. And then you walk to the corridors. You cannot bribe the mayor anymore, and that doesn't make sense anymore. Now we change the system. Now this building right here is also the parliament and the senate. Why? Because Hamburg is a state. Hamburg can pass their own laws. It's a city and a state at the same time. But you cannot bribe people anymore. But they're playing today with me. You cannot bribe people anymore. We legalize it. We call it lobby, okay? So you lobby everybody well, and a law gets adopted just for you. And do you think the system is good? Kind of, because we kind of need that system, because we need to listen to the necessity of the industry and of the harbor to adapt our laws to react dynamically to trade. Is the system susceptible to corruption? Yes. I mean, you can Google about Olaf Scholz, our chancellor in Germany right now, when he was the mayor in Hamburg. Google about it. You know, you're going to find some funny stuff. I'm just going to mention that because I don't want them to follow me, you know. So let's hurry up before I get into trouble here.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is the origin of the name Hanseatic?
Kamerads.
Ah,
It's an old German word, it's not really connected to modern German,
okay.
but it's referred to kamerads
Okay.
because something like that. I highly recommend to read about the Hanseatic League because they're really fascinating period in history, and it's really funny how historians cannot agree on the definition of what Hanseatic League at the end was. Because there were political views and interpretation it was like a union of traders at the same time was in a country but had their own military and led wars.
Ah,
It was like a company network. It's really hard to describe it. And it's really fascinating. It was really fun stuff happened there. And everybody could apply to be a member, and then you have to do really hard job work at the beginning. And
when you're spot.
when you're young, you tend to apply, because if you're old, you're not willing to do that whole harsh. And then they will teach you in the ways how to do commerce, and they will support you financially in that period
Like,
to
it was
do.
like individuals that could apply to
Yes,
the deal.
yes.
Okay.
And every city, I mean, many cities around Europe joined the Hanseatic League, and they profit without end. And sometimes, for example, they started becoming internationalism because it conflicted with the interests of big nations, for example, and then start to decay in the amount of members. So, highest point 14th until 16th century, about active until the 18th century. So guys, you're doing tourism, right? So keep in mind and always change your perspective in life, not only as a tourist but also here. Take a look here. Looks nice, does it? Especially the clock here on the top, right? So keep in mind, I started doing that the last 3 years of my life, just turning around and realizing how pretty some stuff was. I passed by the places every day. I didn't realize that there were so many nice details everywhere. Just do that. Continue now. At some point, Sweden tried to block the Hanseatic League, and it was really funny because yes, they say, okay, we're not going to do the commerce with Sweden anymore because we're not going to change our laws for Sweden's desires, and they stopped doing trade with Sweden. Years later, they came back begging, please lift the embargo to Sweden because we cannot do it anymore with the trades, and they gave up.
Ah, okay.
So they were quite powerful.
Yeah.
Because I guess they needed to trade much more.
Yes, it's the.
But now, right? Like they couldn't go a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot trade with the members. The Hanseatic League as a country was done for you in that area. The Baltic and Nordic Sea belong kind of to the Hanseatic League. I come here to the top because I like to feel powerful. You too, I see. So who wants to feel powerful, you can rise to the platform with me. But we're talking about the building behind me. This used to be the town hall. And it was destroyed during the fire but not by the fire. How is that possible? If you make a big explosion, you can stop a fire. So they explode the building to stop the fire. The expansion wave should be able to extinguish the fire. It's like blowing a candle. So they saw the fire was coming from that direction. They emptied this building and they packed it full with gunpowder. Not only this one, but many others on this side of the channel. I mean, take a look there. You can imagine how was it after the explosion, right? So And they waited and waited, and when the fire was arriving at the exact moment, and it didn't work. So the fire continued in that direction, and 2 days later, the wind changes the direction, and the fire is finally over. All the harbor is gone. Remember, those were houses of people, not like the harbor today. So people lost their hopes, their dreams, their houses. So what do we do now? Do we allow the people to rebuild that? Or we kick everybody out of the city? Take a guess. Everybody out. People out, business in. That's going to be the philosophy of the city from that moment on. Where? To the people around the Alsa. I highly encourage you to walk around the Alsa. You will see these nice houses and really nice mansions around the Alsa Lake. It looks lovely. Back then it was a swamp and nobody wanted to live there, but now the city is destroyed. You get out, yes? We are going to be talking about it in the area where the fire starts. I can spoil you now, but better there, you know. And yet, people out, business in. That's going to be the philosophy, because in Hamburg you don't pay taxes for trading and companies can do more money, so you rather have the companies sitting inside of the city walls, what used to be the city walls. So Hamburg embraced that and systematically removed people out of the city. We are in the middle of the old town and the city is empty. Only 3,000 people live in the old town of Hamburg. And that happened more recent history. So what do we build now? We don't build a harbor anymore in the channels. We build trading houses and accounting houses. Kontor houses, the accounting houses. What do we do in accounting houses? We count money, and more especially, it's a office building for trading companies where they exchange information to each other. You're going to understand the importance of that later in the tour. I'm going to explain that later. But now we need to learn how to recognize accounting houses. If the building looks fancy, it's an accounting house. Take a look there. Really easy. Nicely decorated, isn't it? And do you see something sitting on top of the building? What do you see? A what? A lion that small and cute. I didn't say it's a lion. What do you see? Anybody have a better suggestion? A what? To flex? The flags, I don't know what the flags are. I mean, Israel flag, but no. The statue is a poodle, guys. It's a sitting poodle on top. Let's come closer. Let's take a look to the poodle. Come, let's go. Everybody seeing the poodle now? I mean, the people in the other tour with the sun in their faces could see. So, guys, you have to put some effort, okay? There you see the poodle from here is better? Hello? So, guys, are you seeing the poodle now?
Yes.
Perfect. And what are you seeing here on the right? Two sheep and a naked guy. Why nobody mentions the naked guy? I mean, come on, it's a naked guy on a roof, guys. Come on, that's easy to see. It's Poseidon, the god of the seas. Here you're showing your strength. Powerful, big ships. And here's the other side of poodle. So, which accounting house is richer? Poodle or naked guy?
The naked.
Poodle. Because wealth whispers. Everybody knows who owns the poodle house here. It's the Lives family. They don't, in 2 generations, they were nobody and they went to be one of the richest families in Germany. The children still don't have to work today. So, why do we have a poodle on top? Maybe it's a pet family, right? He owned a poodle, or maybe he married one poodle. How is that possible? Okay, the wife of Karl Lies, the wife Sophie, had a flat face and a curly hair. So he had a nickname for her. My poodle Schatz, my treasure poodle. Why was a courageous guy, right? Imagine you calling your wife or girlfriend and being alive to tell the story, you know? And that is not enough for you. You call the architect and tell him, put the poodle on top, you know? I mean, it could be a romantic gesture, or the guy slept in the couch for many months. We will never know, you know? So, highly encourage one thing, visit the poodle house on Monday. Not tomorrow because it's closed, and today is also closed, but you can get inside that building. Why? There is the last elevator, old elevator from the 50s, that's open for the public. You know these boxes that never stop? You can visit one that right there. It's open for the public. Really, really amazing. But be careful when you reach the top. You know? You have to hold yourself to the walls because it rotates like this. No, of course not. It's safe. It's like a circle like that. You can stay there, sleep there. It's fine. But please go take a visit. It looks really nice. And here we are finally in the channel of Hamburg, right? Do you see port buildings like the harbor inside here? Not anymore, right? Do you know why Hamburg moved the harbor outside of the city? Because this channel is connected to the tide of the Elbe River. And twice a day it's going to be completely empty. So you cannot do trade, business, or anything. Is efficient to be closed for twice a day for a port today? No. So the port moved out, and the city was really only this type of accounting houses and trading companies everywhere. Okay? Good? Perfect. Now we walk in that direction and take a look to a nice church. We're going to get inside now. That is good adults if you want to know who is that. They used to do trade with Latin America, saltpeter at the time a lot, bringing stuff from Latin America. Nowadays it's normal offices. They don't do trading like that anymore in this building. But could be anything. Could be tobacco. Could be goods. Cacao at the time, or coffee was a big trading area. Where are you from?
What's the name? Australia.
Australia. Yeah.
What's the name?
Of the building?
Yeah.
Leishof. It's really a mess to write. I should maybe help you. This you go. Leishof.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't. I was in my writing something there. Here. That's the other tour. So guys, here we are inside of a church. Maybe you didn't realize that, but something is missing, right? So this church was also destroyed by the fire. During the fire, then the whole thing burned to the ground. But Hamburg is a phoenix, so we rebuilt the church in neo-Gothic style. Neo-Gothic is like Gothic in appearance, but new. It means new, different technology to build. You can build taller now. This is going to be the tallest structure in the world for 3 years, from 1874 until 1877. And then some cathedral in France was built, and then everybody forgot that Hamburg was the tallest one. But we are still in Wikipedia. If you check Wikipedia tallest structures, Hamburg appears. So I call it a success. Then something happened again. Second World War, the church got destroyed again. But this time it wasn't rebuilt. Not because Hamburg doesn't have money to rebuild it. Hamburg, but because this should be a monument for the Second World War. And the word monument in German is quite powerful. It means Denkmal will be translated to think about it. Think about what happened here in the Second World War. And it's no secret. Everybody knows about the terrible crimes of humanity the Nazis committed, and that is also no secret in Germany. They teach that in their schools, in museums, in many areas. They are not hiding the history to their citizens. And maybe that's something the world could learn from Germany. Because I read press and history in 4 languages, and I can assure you Germany is the only one doing that. Nobody else recognizes a mistake or that one action was poorly made. Not in recent history, at least. So, what happened here where everybody knows about Nazi parties? I'm not going to bore you with the things that you already know, the persecution of the Jews, these terrible things. I would rather talk about something people tend not to talk because it's a harsh topic. Reality of war. So, we know when a war happens, one side starts doing some war crimes, right? The next reaction will be you retaliate with the same war crime back. That happens in every conflict. So imagine when the Nazis went to Rotterdam targeting civilians with this new tactic of targeting civilians to scare them out of a conflict. One thing is to bomb factories, and you know you're going to hit some civilians as a casualty, but another thing is really to target the civilians. They target them so they will be scared and they will protest against their government, and the war is ending sooner because of that, and we are only doing this terrible thing for a good cause. That's what they told. Reality is quite different. People don't get scared out of the conflict, they want revenge. So imagine that is go Rotterdam and Netherlands they defeated, but England they didn't defeat. They went to London and bombed London 5 times. They wanted to destroy the symbols of the population, of the city of England. They also went to Coventry, a city, and killed 500 civilians. And there was no strategical value on bombing Coventry. And for England, that was the breaking point where they say, if you do that to me, I'm going to do that to you. And after that moment, England also started systematically attacking the area where people were living in Germany. And if you're going to bomb one city, it's going to be Hamburg. England is not that far away, right? From here. So they are coming, they're going to try to bomb Hamburg, but the Luftwaffe protected this city really good. Until 1943. There, the Brits invented a new tactics, using aluminum to trick the radars, and they managed to get inside of the city and start the Gomorrah operation. 10 days of bombings. During the day, the Americans. During the night, the Brits. They dropped millions and millions of bombs. They tried to destroy the harbor, the industry, and of course, killing as many workers as possible. For that, they throw 3 rounds of bombs. First round is going to be heavy bombs, or flat bombs that explode and remove all the roof, and so the bombs can get up to the basement, okay? Second round of bomb, cluster bombs. A bomb hits the floor and fragments fly in every direction. So imagine all the windows here being open to air. Third round of bomb is going to be napalm. Means phosphor inside. It's a liquid that splashes everywhere and burns chemically. It's not going to stop as long as there is air. So it's going to burn everything. And if you think the fire is the worst, because it's not the worst, what happened next is the worst, because cold air from outside of the city will flow below the hot flames, feeding up the flames, and the flames will reach in Hamburg over 500 meters. More than 3 times the size of the church of flames. That creates a circulation effect in the city, creating winds up to 200 kilometers per hour, with tornadoes of fire running around. And the fire is not the worst. Eventually, all the oxygen is going to be burnt, and the fire is going to start sucking all the air from inside the buildings. 10 days of bombings, around 45,000 civilians died in Hamburg. And do you ask England, hey, did you reach your goal? Your goal was remove Hamburg out of the war. So Hamburg cannot produce for the war anymore. That didn't happen. 3 months later, all the damage being made at the industry and harbor was repaired, and Hamburg had the same output as before the bombings. Only a huge war crime was left. So imagine you are a citizen now in Hamburg, and you experience that fire, and when you came back to the city, I mean, when you flee during the bombings and you came back, you realize how everything is gone, and you lose your family and friends. They died. Imagine you have only access to the information from your side, because the Nazis have massive propaganda. They are not telling their population that they are doing the same cruel tactics in the other cities in Europe. In your eyes, you are only a victim. That something came here, did something terrible, because you only have one side of the story. They kill your family. What do you want to do? Be scared out of it? No, you want to retaliate the same way. So you probably enlist the army, and you want to do the same on the other side. And on the other side, they're going to feel the same. It's a cycle of hatred that never stops. And when the war started, nobody could imagine all the terrible things we will be doing in 1 or 2 years. And it's a cycle that we managed to stop. That's the most impressive thing people tend to forget about the Second World War. How do we came out of it? And it was with forgiveness. The German people, in my opinion, were forgiven. How? With money, with the Marshall Plan. They could rebuild. It's the first time in history that the losing side that started the war gets some kind of help. So First World War, I will say everybody blames Germany, right? So the sanctions were really hard, so German people were treated like this. When people have no hope about the future, they tend to believe in the lies of these terrible dictators that happened in Germany and could happen in any other country. We see the rise of populism again because people have no hope. Second World War, we can do something different. We forgave the Germans, they can rebuild, And after getting money to credits, they have more hope the future can be better, and they don't want to have revenge about the things that happen here anymore. So I believe this church is broken like this for us, a reminder of all these things. It's a reminder of the ugliness of war. And we have to do everything possible to stop conflicts from ever happening again. But eventually, a bad guy like Hitler can show up. And Hitler could only be stopped with a war. So, but maybe it also should be a reminder that we cannot lose our humanity the same way we lost in the Second War. We forgot on the other side there's also people. That shouldn't happen again anymore. And for me, the last lesson will be, how can we deal with this, all this hatred and cycle is only with love and forgiveness. The only way out of this terrible conflict is love and forgiveness, and we should start asking the question, how can we learn to forgive each other after terrible things were made and to love each other again, because that's the only path to humanity, in my opinion. And maybe it is standing like this as a reminder of that. How do you guys see it? Agree? Disagree? Good. Not talking about war anymore. Today's memorial of Ukrainian war. That's why you see many Ukrainian stuff around. And if you are interested about bombings in Hamburg or to see more, this museum is quite powerful and really good. They show the destruction of Hamburg, but always with a counter exposition about the destruction that was caused in Germany. Okay, the Germany caused. So you see a balanced view of, for every action there is a reaction. And you can understand more both sides. For imagining how much Hamburg was destroyed, only last year Hamburg reached the same size of population than before the war. So the city only last year reached the same population. So half of the neighbors of people within were gone, and that was a terrible thing. But the old town survived, 40%. So good. Now we can talk about something nice. Okay, so we have a balanced thing. So you have questions about this topic? No? Okay, good. Let's go across the church and talk about something nice. Let's go. So guys, who knows what used to be here on the 13th century? What do you have in front of a church? A market. But not any market. Here used to be the hops market. Guys, do you know what to do with hops?
Yeah.
Exactly. Do you know who know about that on the 13th century? Only Hamburg. Nobody else knew about the hops in the beer. What causes hops in beer? Beer tastes bitter, in my opinion, better. But the most important thing, it lasts longer in the barrel. Beer before that lasted 3 days. You got 3 days to drink your beer in the barrel after you finish brewing. Second day, you're calling all your friends to visit you. And beer from Hamburg lasts for 3 months. What do you do with such a product now? Ship it, exactly. Bring it. You have 3 months now, you know. But you can bring it in 3 days. You're free to do. You ship it. Remember the Hanseatic League? Hamburg is going to be the brewer for the Hanseatic League. Everybody's buying the beer from Hamburg. It's going to be one brewery for every 16 people.
16?
Yes. Everybody is involved in the business of beer. You are shipping it, you are cleaning the floor of the brewery, you are brewing the beer. Somehow you're related to beer. Everybody depends on keeping this a secret. Nobody else can know about this. How long is this a secret? Between the 13th and the 16th century. 400 years of beer monopoly.
No, there's still a big.
No, we are a mess. It's beer, you're going to be disappointed only. Sorry. Go to Bavaria. Bavaria is a good area to drink beer. Here, you're going to only getting disappointed, really. Ratzen is a local brewery, and all the tradition went gone. Because everybody started doing with hops, and it was no secret anymore. But in that period, between 13th and 17th century, actually, Hamburg was making all the brew masters in Europe. They are getting the train in here, and it was a kept secret how to do the hops. Okay, so where are we brewing the beer? Close to there. Exactly. Who wants to carry a barrel of beer around the city? Doesn't make sense. You go to the harbor. There's where you're bringing your beer. So we're going to go in that direction. Okay, let's go. How do you know each other?
Wow.
I mean,
So
You know, we started
Yeah.
to work together, then I introduced Dave.
now we are married. And then
I met her.
En Irlanda.
yeah,
okay. That was typical Brazilian going to do that in Ireland. Yeah, it's a whole Brazilian thing to do, you know. But why Ireland actually? Because there are really many Brazilians in Ireland. Yeah, if I get ah,
yeah.
okay, wait.
And study and work. And it is.
Cool.
I think it's the only reason, to be honest.
And probably the cheap beer, right? No, I'm joking. It's really expensive. It's the most expensive. Usually there are no people from Ireland in the tours. Usually less people from Ireland come to the tours. And today I had other 4 people from Ireland too. You know? I don't know. Maybe it's good offer from Rainer.
Yeah, I think so. We pay like an extra price.
Irish people used to travel just to drink. They are not like interested in
Yeah.
history or whatever.
The group of Ireland, the 4 men already talk about beer all the time. You know, yeah. So guys, come closer here because I know it's windy, but it's a nice view, isn't it? The guy's even taking pictures here. So do you see the big glass building? Looking really nice right now. It's the Elbphilharmonic. It changed during the day all the time. We're talking about it later, but now take a look to the 7 houses at the end of the channel. You see there? 7 old houses. Do you know why they look old? Because they are old. From the 17th century, those survived the fire, those survived the bombings. Take a look to the other side of the channel. You see these brick buildings? They were storage houses built just after the fire. Take a look there. You see green roof? Green roof means no bomb. Those are from the 19th century. And here we have modern architecture. And right behind us is a construction because a building from after the Second World War was there. And the architecture after the Second World War, that was the biggest war crime in history. We're lucky they removed this ugly thing, you know, and they're building something nicer now. Because it was really, really ugly, that building in the corner. But here we are. I promise you something else. It's a panoramic view of architecture, but you want to listen about beer, right? So where are we brewing beer? Probably on the basement of that houses, of the 7 old ones. So you can imagine all the city of Hamburg looking like that. Where are we getting the water for the beer? The channel right there. Exactly. The true question always is, where are we going to the toilet? That you don't think about, right? So you see the White House, the first house of the group of the old ones. You see a balcony coming out. That's a toilet. Okay, the block coming out of the white building, that used to be the toilet, and you have a hole in it and ploop straight to the channel. And every house has something like that. Everybody can see when you're going to the toilet actually. But how is it with the beer again? You know, not really good for beer, right? Don't worry, we have hygiene. Remember I talked about the tide that goes up and down every day, twice a day. It's flushing everything. It's like a flush. It's get full and empty. So, for that reason, there were one message on every window in this area of Hamburg, with a clear message. You cannot pee and poo on the channels on Mondays and Tuesdays. Because on Wednesday, we brew beer. And now you know, 4 flushes are more than enough to have the best beer in Europe. And if you don't believe me, ask the Dutch. They were buying a lot of it, you know. So, if you think the system is not hygienic, trust me, other cities didn't have this system. Don't read about London or Paris at the same period. That is traumatizing, you know, when you don't have a flushing mechanism like this, you know. But enough beer talking. Now we have to talk about coffee. For that, we walk away from the wind. Let's go there. Und? Magst du Alsterwasser? Jetzt macht Sinn, Alsterwasser. Aber ja.
Da gibt auch nur in Hamburg, weil das schlecht für den Essen.
Mhm. Wer weiß.
What war crime?
What?
What was the building that got destroyed?
I know it was an ugly building built after the war. It was nothing special.
Okay, just ugly.
Just ugly building, really. Guys, don't go. Don't leave me.
Keller is a war crime. That's why they're tearing
Yeah, that was a war crime. Oh. The building itself was a war crime, you know. So, who here doesn't like coffee? Don't be shy. You are almost raising your hand. If you don't like coffee, yeah, you can take a look at the pictures here, okay? Everybody else, you have to pay attention to me, okay? You have no choice. You already decided. So, we are talking about coffee. Why it's an important commodity being traded in Europe for a while. Hamburg being a port city, they had a lot to do with it. So, you know where coffee is from? Originally, the origin country of coffee is? Africa is the right continent already. It's Ethiopia. The region of Kafir, the Ottoman Empire rediscovers coffee for the world. They took the plant, planted in Yemen. That's why it's called Arabica. It's in the Arabic Peninsula. They roasted and start shipping into Europe. That happened in the 17th century. What happened in Europe in the 17th century? Illustration and everything. Yes, the consequence of coffee was tremendous in Europe. When you stop being drunk all the time, you start using the thinking part of your brain. And imagine before coffee, they are brewing this beer with less alcohol as a day-to-day beverage. It's like a soup of beer kind of you're eating. And now you're boiling the water, killing this bad stuff from the bacteria from the water, and now hiding the taste of the dirty water with coffee and tea. And like that, Europe starts thinking again. Sounds like a bad joke, yes, but it's kind of true. So take a look into the topic. The knowledge in Europe gets transmitted through the coffee houses. They are sipping coffee and doing mathematics. You know, an activity we're probably not doing anymore. ChatGPT is taking over that area, but it was game-changing for Europe. So everybody wanted to drink coffee. There is a problem. There is a monopoly now. The Ottomans produce the coffee and sell the coffee. The Dutch couldn't bargain their prices. If the Dutch cannot bargain, they are going to steal from you. So they went to Yemen, stole the plant, and planted in Sumatra. And now we have two providers. The Spanish Empire loved that idea so much that they stole from the Dutch in Sumatra, planted in Latin America, and the rest is history. Nowadays, 70 countries produce coffee. But you don't get rich by planting coffee. You get rich by trading with coffee. For that reason, even today, in the European Union, you can only import raw beans. You cannot roast them outside of Europe. You want to do the most profitable here, that's roasting and then selling. So, imagine this roastery right here. On every corner in Hamburg 50 years ago, that was being made like that. But people want cheaper and cheaper, right? So big companies show up to the business saying, oh, I can buy all the beans, put it in a big oven at 500 degrees, not 200 as usual, It's cheaper, it's quicker. 5 minutes, you burn the coffee, you sell it to the people with sugar and milk, everybody's happy, right? So we forget about these traditional small places to roast coffee, and they have to close down. They cannot compete with the prices of a supermarket. And we forget about good coffee until around the year 2000. Something amazing happens in the United States. What happens in the United States? Starbucks. Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable how they managed to charge so much for bad coffee. That is unbelievable. But they changed the market forever. Let's be honest. Before Starbucks, people aren't paying $10 smiling for getting a coffee, you know? You will feel a rip off actually. And Starbucks changed that. People are paying a lot of money to have their name written poorly in a cup, and they're happy about it. So I had the idea, maybe, I can open my own coffee place and then do the good coffee for half the price. And that started happening. In the last 15 years, you have this many small roastery places in Hamburg everywhere, and they're really, really good. You see the block. There's a block on the left side of the building, on the entrance. They're roasting the coffee there, and they use technology and with many sensors, and they do slow roasting, 20 minutes, something like that. 200 degrees costs more money, yes, but it's way higher quality. And you're not combining different producers. You have one finca, and you optimize the roasting for that particular bean. So the flavors you get is amazing. So I would highly recommend to give it a try to the small roastery places. This is my favorite here, and they even have a coup. So it's a line here, and we are not in Berlin, guys. People are not hipster doing lines in Hamburg. I mean, the place has to be good if you have a line, you know. And if you drink coffee, please don't order Americano, okay? Americano is an offense to good coffee. That's watered down coffee. If you want something lighter, order hand filtered coffee. Is going to be better tasting, okay? But if you drink coffee, you have to eat one thing. What do you have to eat in Hamburg? You're from Hamburg? Yes, exactly. Franzbrötchen. What is Franzbrötchen? You know Franzbrötchen? It's French bread. It's the translation. So why do we have French bread here? Because Napoleonic troops were here for 8 years. And what do French people want? Croissant. The whole day croissant. Only croissant. Croissant, croissant, croissant. Imagine all the troops eating croissant all day, but what happened with the croissant you didn't salt? At the end of the day, croissants are hard as a stone. Imagine the city full of hard croissants everywhere. You can kill people with croissants. It's dangerous. So to avoid these dangers of the croissants, the bakers in Hamburg had an idea: make them flat, add syrup, cinnamon, and rebake it. And it's like a hybrid between cinnamon roll and croissant. That's really, really good. And it has to be fresh from the oven. When it's not fresh, it starts to get hard again and it's not as good anymore, okay? So if you want to get one, go to the Kleine Konditorei. In my opinion, that's the best one. You can find it everywhere, actually, but they're going to be baked in the morning, and then when you get them, they're not so good anymore. It has to be really fresh. And when do you know it's fresh? When you smell cinnamon in the city, you know they just bake Franzbrötchen. Go grab one. It's really like that. So who wants coffee and Franzbrötchen now? You have to wait, sorry. Let's go. Did you like the pictures? The person that didn't like coffee? Do you know the other? You don't know other stories about Franzbrötchen? I know, because there are many that try to explain, because the one says the bakers in Germany didn't know how to do croissants and they put cinnamon, which makes no sense in my opinion. And there are many origins possibilities, you know, and this is the story I like the most actually. I'm reading that correctly. Free wine? Oh. So here we are. Who is looking now for buildings from the 17th century and getting disappointed? Because they don't look like 17th century, right? They look like 19th century because they updated the facades through the years. Back then it was fancy to look like Amsterdam, so they put a nice facade in front of it, and that's it. But do you see here the gap? Maybe? Yeah? Yep, that is the old building. So you can see a little bit here in the gap, and you see how much wood was in the structure right there. Why do they use so much wood? Suggestions, you.
To like stop it from burning again.
Stopping from burning?
Like, because they do wood and then brick.
Yeah, but you can remove the wood. In other places, you only use bricks and cement. Remember, we are in a swamp? Yes, you use pillars of wood in the sediment already, like many stocks of wood, as the base, and then you build on top. After 200 or 300 years, it's going to start to sink to one side. So you add wood on top, so you have flexible. You can dance La Macarena over the centuries, and it's not helping to stop a fire, but it's the only way to build houses that are tall enough in this area. You have no solution around it with the technology of back then, for sure. And then imagine the street right there, that's a street. The gap right there, that used to be a street. The law in Hamburg was clear. You have to be able to carry a sack in your back. People were moving around the goods in these small streets everywhere. And then at the time it was trendy to have tobacco and alcohol for drinking and storage inside of the city. So everybody is storing whiskey and stuff like that on top. And here used to be a cigar factory. The great building of the Bohemian used to be a cigar factory. Sorry for the expression, boy, I have to call it how it is. The owner was an asshole. Okay? So 3 weeks before the fire, there was massive quitting on the company. It looks like he treated workers really bad. So it looks like somebody started the fire with the intention of destroying the business. We don't know if the owner maybe slept with a cigar in his hand. Could be. Or maybe somebody started in the basement. It's only speculative right now. Start burning. It was a windy day here. Usually it's really windy in this street. The fire got carried out in that direction. Eventually jumped to the other side and burned up to here. The 7 houses survived because the wind was favorable and the gap was good enough. And everybody started panicking, The city is burning. It's a big fire, The fire departments cannot have to control. What do? You start panic too, and you start doing what the others are doing. One person had the idea, let's get rid of all the flammable goods. So my house, when it's burning, is not going to burn my neighbor too. So how do you get rid of stuff in Hamburg? Remember the channel with the tide? Just throw all to the channel. Everybody was throwing the alcohol inside of the channel, and at the time it was a low tide. And they don't tell that to the fire department. And the fire departments, when they arrive, they say, oh, there's still water in the channel, let's take the water pump. And they took the water pump. They're pumping, singing songs, la 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 la, adding alcohol to every house. And like that, the whole city burns. And only the area surrounding the channels actually got mainly destroyed. And everything is gone. But how was the life just before the fire? Imagine me having my store right here. The lowest level, I have a store. I'm selling stuff that I'm storing on the top. Second and third floor, I live with my family. So imagine this guy arriving in. Do you like money, actually?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do business, so it's good. So you arrive into my store, you want to buy 10 kilograms of tobacco, okay? But I only have 5. What should I do? What should I do?
Charge more.
What?
Charge more.
I have 5 kilos, he wants 10, I will charge him more. He's not happy with me, he goes next door. That's not a good strategy. Guys, you have to be more creative. Maybe I can borrow from the neighbor. Everybody's doing the same business. I go to the neighbor and borrow from him, but I don't want you going to the neighbor. Okay? So here's a beer, made in Hamburg here, You get distracted with the beer, but then I realized this guy looks like he can hold one beer really good. So I will get my daughter from the second floor, Now you're distracted, a nice lady, at your side, Now I go to the neighbor, I borrow the 5 kilograms from the neighbor. I come back, I have 10 kilograms, I make the sale. You want to impress the lady, you buy even more. You go your way, everybody's happy, right? So imagine now, I don't buy from the neighbor because I hate the neighbor, so I go next door. Next door, old tobacco. The other door, too expensive tobacco. And I keep walking and going, and I don't find the right good for the right price. After 1 hour, I come back. You already finished the beer. That gives you courage. You convinced my daughter to marry you, and then you are gone with my daughter, and I lost everything because I arrived too late with the goods and the information. So you see, the power of information for business is critical. Okay? So imagine that today we do business like that, going door to door. Can you imagine this right now? Not really, right? Remember the accounting houses I spoke about? That is the game changer in Hamburg. Because instead of walking around one street, now you have one office building for people to exchange this type of information. And Hamburg, after the fire, will take 50 years to do all the changes. We're going to do the accounting houses. We're going to move the port entirely now only on the Elbe River. And the city is going to explode in population. It's going to go from 200,000 people to 1 million in less than 20 years. And people need food, right? Now you face new problems. Maybe you're eating the hamburgers like we spoke about at the beginning. But what you're going to be eating probably at the time is fish. Because only fish you can get in bigger quantities at once when you grow so quick. So back then you have one warm meal a day. It was given by your company, by your boss. And you can know your bosses already, right? They're really generous people willing to use a lot of money for you, correct? No, not the case, right? Back then it wasn't any different. Imagine in the period of industrialization, he went to the fish market, he asked for the oldest fish that's still eatable. He get the old fish, he put in a big pot with a mustard sauce. Maybe you know panfish. Here, you know panfish, right? Yeah, you see? It's a mustard sauce. It's really tasty nowadays. And not all fish anymore, but why do you use mustard? Mustard has antibacterial properties and most importantly hides the taste from old fish. And you get potatoes on the side, and that is a Hamburg classic from that time. And the other Hamburg classic is Lapskaus. Anybody here from England? Do you know the nickname of people from Liverpool? Anybody here? No? Scouses. You know that? You know why? Because I also ate Lapskaus. In Scandinavia, everybody's eating Lapskaus. What is this? Everything you can put inside of a ship that doesn't spoil. So beetroots, potatoes, pickles, the juice of the pickles, poached meat, and onions. You cook everything until really soft, like a puree, a purple puree, and everybody gets a spoon. That's it. Why is that the biggest success? Imagine you're long in a ship, eventually you get scurvy when you are traveling so long because of the lack of vitamin C. You start losing your teeth, you lose your teeth, you cannot chew. Good news, Lapskaus, you don't have to chew. You can swallow straight. And like that, it's a really big success. And the fun thing is, when you eat Lapskaus, you get a lot of vitamin C, so you end up curing the scurvy. So you don't know about sickness of vitamin C back then. You only know you have to eat Lapskaus and you're going to be fine. Then you realize you have all the vitamins and minerals. And people that ate Lapskaus were really energetic, moving a lot and working a lot. If you don't eat Lapskaus, you have no energy and you're weak. You're lacking some minerals. So it's a food tested through history. And you are never going to get convinced to order this in a restaurant because it doesn't look good, the description, right? I mean, it took me 5 years in Hamburg, living in Hamburg. I never tried. I was saying, I'm sitting in a restaurant, I'm never ordering this, Why? There's way better stuff in the menu. But after 5 years, I got the courage. I say, Victor, you have to try this thing. And I tried. It was really good. I couldn't understand it, Why? How is it possible? It's about the acidity. And somehow all these 6 ingredients work really well together, and the acidity brings the dish up. And the most important thing about this dish is the fried egg you get on top. Because it doesn't matter how nice the restaurant is, it still looks really ugly, Without the fried egg on top, you're not putting that inside your stomach, But it's really, really tasty. I highly encourage you guys to give it a try. This street is perfect for it because there are many traditional Hamburg restaurants. My favorite restaurant for this recipe or for Hamburg recipes is Deichgraf. It's right there. They have it would be like $25, $22 a meal. It's full price of Hamburg restaurant. It's a normal price, but you have other restaurants here that are going to be cheaper, less quality than that one, but price performance. This street is really good. Okay, and you also get a fish with cooked in vinegar on the side. More acidity even. So I highly encourage you guys to give it a try to these traditional foods because I believe it's the best way to understand a culture is through eating. I can assure you that. So who wants to eat now? Because I didn't eat. in 2 hours now, so I'm getting hungry again. So let's go. And enjoy the coffee. Better if you remove the lid and you can smell.
We were talking about coffee, and then you start mentioning coffee. I was like, okay.
And you go, yeah.
See you in 2 minutes.
Are you French?
Yes.
And you? Spain, Argentina. So guys, remember the buildings are collapsing. It's really easy when they collapse into each other, you know. You put a metal beam in between and then you are already finished, you know. Now it's going to last over 400 years, these houses. Here's an imbiss for having Hamburg cuisine a little bit cheaper. They have smaller portions, I can recommend. Don't cross by red, guys. No, I noticed lights gets from too quickly. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't go to prison, but an old grumpy German guy will scream at you. You know, you want to avoid that.
I'm not tourist, so it's fine. I can survive.
Are you sure? You never saw these grumpy old guys. You know, they're dangerous.
The Vikings. So great. Yeah. Okay.
We go in this direction. Which coffee do you got?
The one when you start talking about coffee, there were
Yeah, no. Which coffee?
Ah, okay. I just asked for regular coffee.
What?
I didn't ask for any specific.
Ah, okay.
Just two, one latte and one coffee.
Okay. I like the one from Honduras. It's really it's lighter, but if you like some Guatemala, it's good.
How long have you been here?
12 years.
Okay. Started with some engineering and then you're doing this? Or
No, I'm doing MRIs right now. I'm developing a belt that analyzes how people walk.
a belt?
To analyze the gait cycle, how people walk. It's going well. So guys, what do you see there? Green roof. That means no bomb. Survives quite well. This area is called the Speicherstadt. Speicher means the storing city, so we are storing everything here. Used to be this like warehouses of the city. Why? Remember Napoleonic troops were here? When the Napoleon was here, 1806, he destroyed the Holy Roman Empire. So all the German states get separated from each other. We have to unify Germany again. How can you unify Germany? With a war against France. Franco-Prussian War, 1871. That happened, and then all the German states get together again, and they signed the new Second Reich. Okay? And Hamburg has a problem now. They wanted to join Germany, but they still had to pop in their pocket this letter from Barbarossa. And Hamburg didn't want to start paying taxes, so what do we do about that? They asked to Bismarck. And they discussed it for over 10 years until they found a solution. You see the island right here? That island was the port of Hamburg too. 20,000 people lived there. They were the port facing the area of the Elbe River for the bigger ships. What do we do with people in Hamburg? Out of the city, everybody gets kicked out again around the Alster again, and now we built this area for storing our goods. And only here, the goods are going to be tax-free for trading. Okay. Before it was the whole city, now only in this area. So all the goods that were tax-free, they get moved inside. They finished this area in 1888. Before that, only a person from Hamburg was allowed to do tax-free trading. Now, everybody that pays for the storage can do that. So that's why you see so many green roofs in this area, because England was storing their goods here too. They're not bombing where they have their own house. No, that's why it survived quite well, you know. And this area is going to be tax-free until 2003. You guys know actually what it means to be tax-free for trading. It means if I buy something somewhere else and sell it somewhere else. So I buy carpets from Pakistan, I store it in here temporary because I'm speculating that many years later I can sell it for a higher price, but not into Germany, to another country. Okay, you cross the goods, the bridge, then you start paying taxes. Okay, and do we do business like that today? Not anymore. We have internet telecommunications. I'm not going to put 2 times in a container and pay for expensive storage in Hamburg. I'd rather call the guy, ask, hey, do you still have those carpets? He'll say yes or no. Yes, can you send to this address? I wire you the money, and that's it. That's how we do business, from China to your house. You know? So Hamburg realized that every year we're doing less money with the free port from this one and the other one that's in that area of the harbor, and we're doing more money with the normal port. So in 2003 for this area, and 2013 for the other area of the port, Hamburg says enough is enough. We finished milking the letter from Barbarossa, every drop we could get out of it. And that document defines the history of the city. And it was a good run until 2013. And do you know what's the most funny thing about this document? The document is a forged letter. It's a fake document. I'm not joking, it's really fake. We learned that in the 20th century. The seal of the document wasn't from Barbarossa, but from the grandson from Barbarossa. And he has his seal only 27 years after the date of the letter. Funny here. What's the moral of the story? Fake it until you make it. Alternatively, Adolf III organized the whole thing, so you can also say never trust an Adolf, you know, but... So really, if you don't believe me that Hamburg make a lot of money here, go behind the area of the Speicherstadt. We built a new neighborhood called the Hafen City. They have all this fancy new architecture, fancy houses everywhere, you know, and you will see a lot of money. It's a new area of the city. You can go around the Alps, so you're going to see the big mansions, or you're going to go to Blancanieves, so you can see nice areas. There's 1 millionaire for every 42 people in the city. So there's a lot of money being made. If you want to marry somebody in Blancanieves, it's a good area, okay? Recommended. Okay, so now we are going to be talking about the big building right there in glass, but not from here because the view from here is kind of boring, so let's go in that direction. If you have time to visit the Speicherstadt, I recommend going to the Miniature Wonderland Museum. You know that one? It's the second largest attraction in Germany, so you have to go to the Miniature Museum. It's really amazing, really fun. Sounds it's for children, but the adults spend more time than the children there. So let's go.
Y aquí tienen el codillo.
Bueno, vas a encontrar muchos restaurantes, pero no es típico de Hamburg, es típico del sur.
Ya, pero se puede comer
Sí.
aquí.
I recommend. People ask about this food from Germany, the pork knee. I recommend going to a brewery. That's the oldest, one of the oldest restaurants in Hamburg, called Gröninga. It's a brewery, and they have this thing. They don't have a lot of stuff in the menu, but they have a homemade beer. Gröninga. So give it to me. Here you go. Danke. ¿Qué?
El alemán.
Sólido.
¿Sí?
Hago traducciones en juzgados. Así que. Pero solo cuando tengo buen humor.
¿Cómo?
Solo cuando estoy buen humorado. Si no, no las hago. No, pues estoy cansado.
Ah,
Cansa bastante hacer traducciones en vivo.
ya. Que llevar 5 años aquí viviendo.
12.
Vale.
5 años me tardó para comer el pescado ese raro.
Vale.
Okay. Guys, you're in the bike lane, so please make space for the bikes. This is the red, is the bike lane. Thank you. After scooter, block the passage again. We're good citizens and we're staying by red, okay?
When are we our lives?
I mean,
Fine. They don't find it.
yeah, of course, in Germany, yeah. So,
If
well,
you
where?
cross it,
Yeah. Welcome to Germany. You are getting fined 100% for everything, you know. You can do that in Ireland? What?
drink, okay.
You can drink like in the canal if it's summer. You cannot like just sit in a normal day because it's going to be rainy anyway. But if it's not raining, you cannot sit in a park.
Really?
No, the law say yes.
We can. The law says yes.
The guard say allow
Okay.
because of the social behavior. You could
Ah, okay.
after the beer, you know. But the law just say you cannot walk on the street drunk.
Yeah.
So like just
So how you get home, you know?
how people is living. That's the law.
In Germany, you have a tradition, the Father's Day, that you get a bola wagon. It's a wagon full of beer, and only men walk around with the music, and then you. Guys, please come here to take a look to that direction, and keep in mind this is the bike lane. It's dangerous for you, but not for me. I have panoramic view, you know. When you're a white guy in Paraguay, you have to be careful in every direction. So I know when the bikes are coming, don't worry. So, you see that building right there? El Philharmonic, looking nice, really nice now. So, why? The glass is quite special, changed according to the colors of the sky. And changing lights change the building, and sometimes you get colors that you cannot even imagine. It's really unbelievable and really hard to understand how this coloring happens, but in days where you have these different colorful clouds, it tends to get nice, so you're having a good day. Why is this building famous though? For looking nice? No, for being delayed and expensive, like every public construction in the world, you know. So imagine if they had a really nice idea. They wanted to combine the idea of the Speicherstadt, the storing city, together with the Hafen city in one building. So you see the glass part is a modern, and the part below used to be a part of the Speicherstadt built in the 60s, with the idea that the ships get inside of the building and they get loaded from the top. But the Americans invented the container in the 60s. So that building was finished and already not already old. So never put into real use. And the building was kind of a dirty and ugly, and that was the first thing you saw when you arrived from the ship in Hamburg. You saw a big block that was really ugly. So let's do a Philharmonic on top, do something fancy on there, and we married this idea of Speicherstadt and Hafen City is going to be the cherry of the cake for the Hafen City. It's going to cost 77 millions only, and be finished in 2 years, in 2003. Sounds great, right? Yes, spoiler alert, that doesn't happen. So they finally, yes?
That was their idea.
Yeah. Then, spoiler, they updated the price. Now it's going to cost 380 millions. They're going to start now in 2009. And right when they started the construction, they realized they made a terrible mistake. They forgot that Hamburg get visitors in the form of cruise ships. These cruise ships have horns, and the paw will be so loud you are going to listen inside of the Philharmonic. But now you are too deep into the project to go back. So, what do we do now? We are in Germany, over-engineering. That's the solution. So, you see the glass part? Imagine an eggshell inside of the glass. That's where the Philharmonic is. That is floating in the sky because of many metal ropes holding the structure from the top, and below it is dampers. There's a spring or damper mechanism. That means vibrations cannot happen. So vibrations from the outside don't affect the inside. So I can jump here, punch the floor. I'm not going to feel anything there. Not even the train, no horn. And you get one of the best acoustics in the world. It's really amazing. You go there to a concert, you close your eyes, you can filter out each instrument. But when you close your eyes and relax, you are also going to listen to everything that happens in there, because their acoustic is really, really clear. You can listen to the children asking their parents when it's going to finish, you know. They're not patient anymore. You cannot imagine all the farting happening in that building. Of course, not farting, is more coughing actually. They're probably in the winter. For that reason, we made a partnership with Ricola. You get free caramels in the entrance. That's not a joke. That actually happens. So, with the hope is with caramels, you don't do less noises. But I have to be honest, the experience there is unforgettable. It's really nice for concerts. It's really nice to take a look to the building because it's changing all the time. This dynamism of the facades is really amazing. And what's also amazing, seeing the sunset from there. And it's free. You can go to the main entrance as I want to get the panoramic plaza view, please, and you get one ticket printed for you for €0, and you go around and you enjoy the view from the city. Highly encourage you guys to do that because it's free. I mean, come on. But how expensive was this whole thing at the end? Can you guess? Not 380. Now it's 880 millions. 11 times more than initially planned, you know? But do you ask a politician if it was a success, yes or no? Everybody will say yes. People in Hamburg nowadays like the building really a lot. We don't complain about the money anymore. You enjoy so many times going to the top of the building or seeing the building from many different point of views. And if you put Hamburg in Google Images, the first thing appears is the building, so it's a success. So you get a new symbol of the city for little money. Usually you pay taxes, you don't get nothing in return. Now, at least I get a place for getting free sunsets, you know. Stay positive, guys, okay? So, highly recommend. Go take a look, and during your trip in Hamburg, take a look at the building every now and then. You could be shocked how pretty it looks. Now it looks even nicer than before, right? When you just arrived, I like these colors now. So, let's go now to our last stop in the tour, the St. Michael Church.
It's not thing about you finance
So guys, here we take a look to something nicer, isn't it? St. Michael Church, the true landmark of the city of Hamburg. Why? Imagine you're a sailor. You're leaving the city. You say goodbye to your city. The last thing you saw it was this building right here. No skyscrapers, nothing. And when you came back, if you came back, you felt home at the moment you saw the St. Michael Church. Probably because you commit a lot of sin outside and now you can ask for forgiveness again. Could be the case too. But this grew because of the reason in the heart of the people in Hamburg. And you see the roof, which color is it? Green, black, a mixture. Why is that? The oxidation is not finished. Why is that? Bomb will be brown. Bomb happened to the other area of the church that is completely brown. The tower survived the war and is getting oxidized but not finished because the church burned in 1903. They were doing some reparations in the roof. Yes, I know. Rings a bell with Notre Dame. Never repaired the roof of a church. It's my recommendation. It burned the whole church to the ground, but Hamburg wanted to have the same church again. Germans don't like change. So we have pictures and we have the memories. We're going to rebuild the church in Baroque style, and that they did. In my opinion, it's one of the nicest churches in Germany. Really nicely decorated, a lot of light, and the biggest organ. So if you're on Wednesday in Hamburg, you will have a really nice concert of when the organs are playing. And what's also lovely is the view from the tower. In my opinion, the best view of the city. You go there, it costs between 8 and 12 euros. Is it worth it? 100%. If there is sun and a nice day, If it's not a nice day, ugly day, go to the free view, it's going to be good enough. But this one is really a view that you are not forgetting quick, okay? So right at the corner of this church, there's a special street. You can follow me at the end of the tour. It's a Hamburg from 1676. It's the only thing that remains that wasn't destroyed and have been kept as it was before. You walk with me at the end of the tour, I show you, and then I go home. Okay, you can do that. It's extra, but not extra money, not extra walking, okay? But now I still have one story left to tell you guys. How did Hamburg manage to save 40% of the old town? Do you know that? No? The Hamburg guy? No clue, right? So, what happened here? We are at the end of the war, right? Hitler gave the last order. It was every German soldier has to return to Hamburg to battle here, as if Hamburg is the last bastion of German resistance, which makes no sense, because the harbor wasn't operating anymore, and the Allies were already 10 kilometers away, shelling the south of the city already with artillery. And all the other German cities got destroyed with artillery like that, right? No other German city of this size have so much standing from the old town. So, some of the factories in the south were used as a mobile hospital. The owner of one of these factories, Professor Burkhardt, wanted to talk to the Allies to ask them, can you please change the aim of your artillery? Because you're wasting munition on sick people. For that, you need the allowance of the general from Hamburg. So he went to Hamburg, he talked to the general, he explains the situation. He sounds so convincing that he's going to go there anyway and do that, that the general says, I'm not going to stay in your way. Here's one driver, one translator. Please don't die. You go with your own car. This mission is suicide. The three guys go with a private car holding a white flag through no man's land. The Allies see the car to believe they are spying into incoming invasion, so they decide to attack the car. Later, when they saw that the car didn't retreat after the shots, they say maybe they want to talk to us, So they allow the car to approach. They talk to the general from England, and the general in England says, no, I'm not going to change my strategy. I'm going to keep shelling the city. Why? If you are going to invade a city, you don't know who's hiding in that window. Could be a sniper, rocket launcher. You don't want to waste the life of your soldiers, so you demolish everything and you walk into ashes. That's the strategy. I'm not going to change that, but I give you a counter offer you maybe cannot refuse. Maybe if you guys promise me not to shoot at us when we march into the city, and we're going to do that really soon, we are not shooting at you back either. That means capitulation. If you promise that, I'm willing to do that. The guy says, oh, I would love to take the deal, but I cannot take the decision, so can you please prepare a letter? I know Hamburg and letters. Don't worry, not a fake this time. He prepares the document with the letter, with all the conditions of capitulation. He brings the document, risking his life, because holding the document was treason. He reaches the general, nobody stopped the car. The general is excited, how do you manage to get this deal? He went to the mayor and they talked, we are making a coup d'etat, right? And separating from Berlin. Yeah, of course, they make a coup d'etat, separate, sign the capitulation. And like that, Hamburg survives. The Allies march in peacefully, and nobody fires a single shot from any window. Everybody knows what happened to all other cities. And in Hamburg, you already experienced destruction. And like that, the city was safe. Remember, I tried to bring logic into history, but today we learned that it's kind of random, isn't it? A fake letter makes the city what it is today. And then based on that letter, we end up doing all the trade with the Hanseatic League, changing the history of Germany forever. And everything the city built over generations was destroyed by a big fire. A catastrophe happens. But catastrophe cannot define us. How do we react in crisis should tell more about us than anything else. And Hamburg embraced, rebuilt, and built better. And everything that we saw today could be gone. But randomly, we had one guy with a lot of courage. And on the other side, in the English side, we have a guy with a big heart, willing to do, risking the life of his soldiers to do what he believed was the right thing. And like that, when we combine courage and a goodwill, I believe we can do anything as mankind, right? With this nice weather today and this positive message, I finish my tour. Thank you very much.